So welcome back everyone for another round of Planet Nomads. Today we're going to work on the main production floor. And basically before I get started on that, I need to know how much space I'm going to have to work with. So I need to get this wall, the inside wall, done. And I feel like I might be off set a little bit from where I'm supposed to be. Alright, so there we go. I have enclosed the stairwell, which I think is done a little differently than I've done in the past on the other spots, because this is where I kind of started building down. So I have some stuff that's laid out a little differently. I'm gonna have to come back and do some adjusting, but now I need to figure out how I want this floor laid out. And I'm thinking, let's say we've got, you know, for the utility stuff, obviously we need the 3D printers. So, you know, medium 3D printers. I figure with the same case, we probably want at least, we'll probably want a few med bays. We'll definitely want maybe some food and, well, I don't know, we might do food and drink machines in a cafeteria area. I know I thought about the idea of greenhouses, along with maybe a section for the autonomous water purifiers in here. Greenhouses so you can grow your herbs and such. Maybe not refineries because we have those covered below. Or maybe just in case, you know, we put like 2 refineries for people who are visiting the space station to use. Definitely want to have like the medium armory for that sort of thing as well. Everything needs to connect in. So yeah, I think we'll leave the food and drink machines out, but the rest will need to be built down here on this level. So I've got all the lights up, and the spots I have that are best placed for bringing up the connections for the conveyors really don't work for this. The autonomous water purifiers, they're so tall that, you know, the only way to connect them in is through either the base, which will be the floor piece, or the ceiling tile, which means I have to use the tiles to tie these in, the little conveyor ceiling tiles to make that work, which means that I'm gonna have to add a few more connection points for conveyors from below to make that fit correctly. And that does kind of mess up my idea for the way I wanted this to line up and look. Okay, yeah, this is really going to mess things up because I have to put these within this line here for them to connect in this row, because outside of that, not going to work unless I do conveyors underneath and, you know, on the outside of the walls for the floor flow. I really don't want to do that. So this may be a case of, instead of having the autonomous water purifiers, we go with just normal, you know, refinery type stuff, or the water purifiers are used the next floor up as a decorative but also functional piece. So we may be leaving those off for right now and just putting them up here in the big common room area. That way, you know, I could have like a little platform that hoists them up higher and gives me a nice little connection point where I can trunk things through the floor, or at least a little bit like that. And then these will just be sitting there, nice and decorative, but at the same time producing purified water when there's dirty water available. Okay, so after a few tries, I ultimately ended up going with this because it lets me get 4 of them in fairly comfortably. I was able to rotate the conveyor panel back, so it got me a little bit closer to the wall, and it just actually works fairly cleanly. I might actually do where I have the front panel here, kind of goes along the front there, and contour it back in around the actual shape of them. So instead, like here, it doesn't have all that open space. It instead contours back and kind of flows around the front. I am not sold on that yet, but this does at least let me get 4 of these in. And I think once I get everything put nicely in front, kind of like, you know, something along the lines of that, it'll be a nice thing to walk up and be like, oh yeah, let me use the greenhouse real quick. So here I am with some of the 3D printers, and I'm kind of thinking, instead of just having it completely, you know, just staggered the way I've done in the past, what I'm liking the idea of is having kind of little groups, little pods of them. So instead of having it like, oh yeah, you just got this one, then the next one, then the next one, is kind of either side by side or skips. and we go along the whole length. I'm thinking we'll have like a section here, and I'll even go all the way up to the ceiling on this part, and we'll adjust the lights so that they're where they need to be. And this will be kind of just like if you think laundromat, something like that. You're going in there, you're claiming a few machines for your use while you're there. You know, it'll be kind of that sort of thing. They come in, they're like, oh yeah, I need to process some supplies real quick. So I'm going to grab the red bank and get to work, and then we'll have like a blue bank and like a green or yellow bank, and we'll just split it where it's, you know, different groups of machines, and they'll all have their own connections coming up from the floor from the level below. And there we go. I have the red group, the green group, and the blue group, and you can see how I changed things up a bit on the green. Actually, I think I'm going to extend this out because I want to cover up the conveyor connections entirely. So we'll just do it like that, and I'm going to do some more tidying up, making it look a little bit nicer, or at least play with the cosmetics a bit more in the end. As long as I can get the basic setup, the basic structure going, then I at least will have a way to get the power and the conveyor system in place. You see I've got it there. All of these are connected in terms of the conveyors on them. I still have to do some reconnecting down here to get all of the conveyors in place. Let me find which ones those are. Actually, I don't even have it marked anymore. Oh, well, I need to fix that one anyway. So with all of those tied into power, my deuteriums are now showing 134 hours. Says a notable drop, 135 hours. You see, I'm still not using a huge amount of the wattage available with all the production tied in, but it is still increasing bit by bit. And already, with just the small amount I've done, I'm starting to see lag when connecting in things to the conveyor system. So yeah, just the amount of production that I've got in place, all the 3D printers, everything is now causing lag on the conveyor system connections. But I have all 3 trunks done for that, which is why on the landing pads and the cargo bays, I'm going to make sure I can disconnect all of that from the conveyor system. And, you know, when you land, you dock in something, it'll save a little bit of trouble when you're trying to move cargo containers, things like that around. So that is a total of 10 in each group. So that's 30 3D printers right there. We have the 4 greenhouses. I think it's time for, we need medical, so we need the infirmary stuff, the medical fabrication, and we need armories. And there we go. It's not fancy looking. It does leave some open space, but the idea being that, hey, I need some medical supplies. Well, I'll grab one of these. I can walk around to the back, grab one of these, do some work real quick, just to give myself some of this extracted virus or something like that, you know. Yeah, instead of having a standalone infirmary, we have like the little medic stations come build, which means now I just need to put some armories in over here. You know what? I think we'll go back to just, well, actually we'll go with black for those, because, you know, your camouflage, you know, for nighttime or something like that. And there we go. Some basic setup for the armory. So they're kind of facing out. You walk up, you got this nice contour that comes down and easy access. Just gotta do power. You know what? These and the medical bays, I'm just gonna leave set to power switches over here. And oh, I still need to do greenhouse power switches too. Well, there's a problem. I can't place that there because it's like, oh yeah, you can't build on this. It's not flat enough. So I'm here gonna do that. I might do it that way. We'll do like 2 here. So we'll have, let's see, that, no, that's medical. So we'll do, yeah, I got greenhouses. And then we've got armories, which armories also coincide with being black. Like the I did black for the whole setup of 3D printers. So I guess it'll be just 2 blacks. You'll just have to remember one of them over here is the armories. And now I have everything tied in power-wise on the new production floor. I'm down to 103 hours. Basically just above 10% of the available wattage for the generators. So yeah, it took a big hit. This does make me feel a little bit better about my count of generators, because if I've got that much stuff in already, you know, I'm thinking I could probably hit no more than 20% of the total available wattage just for all the production stuff, everything inside, lights and all that, and that will leave me 80% of the available power just for the air blades to keep things floating and air blades for moving. And then of course, when everything is set up right, I'm going to have it completely switchable, hover mode, movement mode from the cockpit. And my plan is to supplement all this with hopefully a fairly decent solar panel array up top and maybe along parts of the landing pads, so we have a lot of solar power, and hopefully try to tie it in where maybe the solar power is joined only to the air blade. So if everything else fails, if I run out of power on everything else, at the least during the daytime, the solar panels will keep it afloat. But that depends on how much power is consuming. So a good bit of work done. I mean, the production floor is pretty much finished other than cosmetic retouching. And of course, I'm going to leave a lot of that for later so I can make sure I don't have to do anything major in terms of reworking some of the conveyor systems, things like that. So what I'll be now getting ready for, because I did have to get some more production going during this part of the build for certain items, I'm going to let some things produce and get ready for next episode, being the big floor, the common room floor, where we're going to get a little bit more creative in terms of not production, but in terms of the cosmetics and just the looks. But that's going to be it for this episode of Planet Nomads. So if you liked it, hit that like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about the production floor setup, and if you have any suggestions for the cosmetic stuff. And of course, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. But as always, I'm your host, Mr. Spicy. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to keep it spicy this week, and I'll see you in the next video.